Mhm. And do you think women say more, use more polite speech, or more, I suppose, BBC type English when?
I think it depends on the job they're doing and
Okay.
what situation they're in at the time. But some people can speak very properly at work, and as soon as they get out of work, they revert back to their normal.
Okay. And what do you think about, like, in schools I've heard that you're told to speak proper English. What's been happening with that, and what do you think about that?
Well, I think the majority of schools are letting them speak their own tongue now.
Did you find that you
And,
were told?
and there is a movement on in Scotland to revert back to Scots as against the English.
Did you get told to speak?
We were told to speak properly.
What about your children? Were they told to speak proper English?
They were to a certain extent, but not so much out here because it's a country area and it's a different tongue from Glasgow.
So
They express exactly what is meant.
Right, so you think
And don't ask me for any.
I'm not going to ask you for examples, but words that might. So you think that maybe some of the
Well,
words.
take one, scalp. Scalp. To
Yes.
scalp somebody. Do you know what scalp means?
No.
That's a scalp.
Ah.
To smack. You know. That's
And
just one
do you think it
expression.
expresses it better?
It expresses it.
Like there's some words which are more specific,
There
which English doesn't provide, like straight, proper English, as you would probably call it. But, right. What about, I mean, I've noticed words like bairn or wee.
Bairn, weans, it's babies, children.
And
Of course, wean comes from, you know what wean comes from?
no.
To wean a child.
Ah, okay.
That's where wean comes from.
That means a bit
And
older.
bairn means to bear a child. So that's where it comes from.
Okay.
Trying to jump off without being fierce.
Is that common?
Yes.
It is, isn't it?
It was.
Well, it was in that day,
It
eh?
was indeed. So. And this is him telling one of the girls after the cloth.
Ah.
You missed yourself, so you did. You all skipped for fares and jumped over the lights. Yous are all paying the fares and more, says the conductor. Oh, it was a scream. That big shite was Deanie's nut. Tell you, Jean, they were all shouting back at him. Rose shouted she wouldn't call it for a pension. Oh, you should have seen his face. He didn't know where to look. Thing is, there's no school in Mora. This daft, see, won't even get bloody fares in Mora. So that was his.
I mean, they've had a bit of a hard time. I mean, people in Glasgow grown up in they've grown up in the tenements that your generation would have, and even the next one down still had a bit of crowded housing, and you know, given the dirty looks from people from Edinburgh or from the rest of the country. You know, your Glasgow speaker.
Were a lot better than the Glasgow people.
And so, would you say that perhaps they're saying, well, we're all in this together, you know, and maybe it's about fighting amongst each other? Because, I mean, what was it about? There was a reputation, was that no mean city?
No mean city, they call it, like I said, Glasgow was no mean city, the fights that were on it. But again, the man that wrote that didn't do Glasgow any good, really.
No.
Because a lot of it was, it's slightly exaggerated. You know.
So do you think perhaps this might be...
When they fought in the olden days in Glasgow, the men, it was only men and men. They wouldn't touch a woman or anything like that. And so it was only a fight between themselves. Men. But
the others are so obvious in that sense.
well,
I mean, the others
you
are...
can associate with any of these, really. When we were young, that's just the way they spoke.
So how do you feel about seeing the spoken English of Glasgow written down as it's said?
No.
Is that unusual for you? I mean, what do you think about poems which are written in that style, or anything written in that style?
Well, we actually got a laugh at it now. I mean, we heard it when we were younger. But as you grow up, you come out of that kind of talk. But when we look at it and we laugh about it.
Oh yes.
Really. Yeah.
And what
That's
about how
quite funny.
the changed spelling of the words? I mean, how do you feel about the changed spelling? Do you think it could take on, or?
Oh, a lot of people still spell exactly the way they say that.
Oh really?
Right. Some people just, you're a cape, is the way they would say, still say in this day. And they would say it that way, you're a cape. There's still a lot of people talk like that.
And do you think you could accept this way of spelling? It would be standardised to a certain amount because everybody speaks the same way. They settled on a spelling to represent Scots, or at least the, even in this case, the Glasgow dialect. Could you accept that if you saw that written all the time?
No.
You prefer English?
I prefer the English. That was more or less like a slang. That's what we called a slang.
Right.
Glasgow slang.
Right.
It's a lazy way. That's really what it was. A lazy way of talking. Really.
So it wasn't people? You don't think it was an identity thing?
I don't think so. Yeah. Well, most people in Glasgow did speak like that. You got it for their fathers and mothers before and sort of thing. Way back years. But it is a lazy way when you look at it. Really.
Do you saying that we should be speaking, say something like you'd hear on the radio from like BBC English?
No, not necessarily.
No.
No. Just to say we've improved. We're speaking that people understand us a wee bit better now.
You think right? So it was too broad, maybe.
It's too broad for most people. I mean, I'm speaking to you and you understand me now.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't been speaking like that, you really wouldn't, would you?
No, not if I hadn't had experience with it. No.
You really wouldn't. So, I mean, the feeling the way we're speaking now is most appropriate.
Okay. Fine.
My name's Tom White.
That's really good. Okay then, we're going to do a interview on the Glasgow dialect, and well, we better introduce you. What's your name?
My name?
Yes.
Tom White.
And were you born in
I
Glasgow?
was born in Glasgow. Hyde Park Street in Anderson, the district of Glasgow.
Yep. And how long did you live there for?
5 years.
5 years. And then where did you go after that?
I went up to a place called Over Newton.
And is that Glasgow
That's
still?
still Glasgow, behind the Kelvin Hall.
Right. And how long did you live there for?
Lived there until I was 10, and we moved from there up to Knightswood,
Again.
and I was there until I got married.
Okay. And when did you actually leave the Glasgow area?
Glasgow area, 1961.
So that would have been 25 years ago? 25?
No,
No,
30.
30 years
30.
ago. Okay. Just hold on for 1 moment, please. We just figured out it's 39 years he's been out of Glasgow. Okay. Now, we'll start off with questions about money. How much is a bob?
A bob was a shilling.
And would you still use it?
No, it's called 10 pence now.
Okay. How much is a tenner?
A tenner
A tenner.
was 10 shillings.
Okay. And how much is a tishy or a tisharoon?
A tissue.
A tishy.
Well, it's a long time since I heard that one. I don't
You
remember.
recognise it?
I don't remember.
Did you used to use it?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Can you tell me any expression for money in general? Like any sort of term that you use?
Cash, ruler,
What about guilt?
guilt, that's
You
a
know
good
that one?
idea. I've heard of it.
Is that that's one that you've heard but not
I've
used?
heard of it.
Did you've never used it?
No, I didn't use slang very often. I was told not to.
What do you call it when you get something for nothing?
Gratis, free gratis.
Any other names?
Can't recall.
Like bakshi?
Oh, Buckshee,
That's an old one, isn't it?
that's an old one.
So did you use that when you were
Buckshee,
younger?
I suppose I would do it sometime or other. I recognise the word Buckshee.
Okay,
I think it's Egyptian or some Middle East.
that's where you reckon it came from.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go on to games. What did you play at?
What did I play at? As a wee boy? Oh, naturally football in the sport.
Soccer?
They played the rounders,
Mm-hmm.
Levo, kick the can, hunch curry hunch.
Uh-huh.
Hide and seek, of course, and white horse.
White horse. Okay. Was there any ones that you liked the most?
Football.
Football. Okay. So what is hunch curry hunch?
Hunch curry hunch was you all lined up. So many of you lined up. With, the one at the wall put his hands on the wall, and the one at the back put his hands on the hips of the one in front, and so on and so on. And then one had to run and he had to make his way from the back to the front, and everyone bucked to try and show him off. Hunch curry hunch.
Okay. Okay. What are elastics?
What are elastics?
Yes.
Rubber.
What does the name chinks remind you?
Chinks.
Yes.
Oh, chinks. Chinaman.
Okay.
In slang you mean, chinks.
It's a
Chinaman.
game. It's a game, elastics, where you have two people, one at each end, and they've got the elastic wrapped around their legs, and they jump in and out of the...
Is that not called French ropes or something? The girls played it. I never played it, I was the elastic.
Okay. What is chicky melly?
Chicky Melly.
Do you know that one?
Can't recall that one.
Okay. What about bing bang scoosh?
Bing Bang Scoosh. I remember the name but not the game.
That's okay. What is 5 stans?
5
Stains?
5 stains.
Stains?
No, don't recall that one.
Okay. What did you say if you wanted to have a rest during a game? So like
Keys.
Keys?
Keys.
Yeah, and did it work if you didn't do the thumbs?
Should do.
It should do. You
No,
should do.
actually, no, you're on your honour. If you did keys, well, they stopped.
So if but if you like just said keys and just kept your hands down, would you still?
No, you had to put them up.
You had to
keys.
put them up and hold them. And when you pull them down again,
The
you're
game's on again.
Did you ever use barley?
Barley.
Yeah.
For pea shooters.
Oh, okay.
Used to shoot them out pea shooter.
Okay.
Barley, peas or anything.
Okay. Did you ever go out dressed up at Halloween?
Halloween.
And what are people doing it called?
Geysers.
Yes.
Geysers, that's what they call them, geysers.
Any other names?
Well, I've heard the Americans say trick or treat, but we call them geysers.
Okay. Would you have actually used geysers? You'd actually call them geysers and everybody knew them as that.
That's right.
Would they do it today? Would they call them geysers?
Well, it's still called geysers.
Okay. What is a kinderspiel? Kinderspiel. No?
Don't recall that one.
Okay. What is a tossing school?
Tossing school, that's where they played for money. They tossed a coin against the wall.
Just one?
No, they all had a coin and tossed it. 3 or 4. They threw the coin in to see who could get nearest to the wall.
Oh.
And then they picked the coin up and they tossed it in the air.
Okay, and
To see how, if they tried to get 2 heads, 2 tails or whatever.
okay,
And you had to predict what would come down.
right, and you put money on that.
Yeah.
Okay, and what were people running it called?
I can't recall that name because I never played the game.
Oh right, you didn't have the money to.
Never had the money. I wasn't a gambler.
Yeah. Does the name Tollers? Tollers?
Don't
Is that
recognise that game either.
No.
Maybe.
Okay. The shows. What things did you like?
I didn't like the shows.
You didn't.
I always get sick.
Oh.
The roundabout. So I didn't like the shows.
Did you ever actually throw up? Vomit? You did.
Yeah.
Oh dear. What is a Stooky doll?
A Stooky doll. A Stooky is plaster doll.
Okay. And what does it mean to Stooky somebody?
Stiffen them.
Right.
Stiffing them means that you punch them and knock them out.
Okay. And that's
That was
Stooky.
a Stooky.
So it's sort of like giving them a dead arm or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's a pie cost?
A pie cost.
Mm-hmm.
How much did a pie cost? Sixpence or something.
You got in on that one. Okay. I'll ask you a few of these. They're about food. So, what's another name? What do you call a sweetie?
A sweetie.
Mm.
You just called them a sweetie.
What about swedger?
Squeeger.
No, swedger.
Squeeger.
Yeah. No.
No.
Okay.
So a lot of these words are from different areas.
Yeah.
Aren't they? They're not all Glasgow.
Well, they are Glasgow, but you've got
Different,
Glasgow's quite a big area,
That's
really.
right.
What do you call chewing gum?
Well, bubbly gum or chewing gum.
Did you ever call it Chinex?
Chinnets. No, that's a trade name.
Oh, okay. What do you call lemonade, or what did you call lemonade?
Pop.
Any other one?
No, really.
Like ginger?
Well, ginger, well, that ginger was a ginger flavoured lemonade.
Oh, okay. It wasn't just used for soft drinks generally?
No, no, it was a
What about,
ginger flavoured.
what about jiggy?
Ji-
Jiggy?
Jaggy.
Do you ever hear that?
Call
Yes. Okay. What do you call a cone? A
that
cone?
one. A cone?
Yeah.
99ers, a slider. No, a slider was a wafer,
Mm-hmm.
and that was called a slider. Just called it cone.
Or a pokey hat?
A pokey hat, all right. Well, you're bringing back the memories. See, I'm 70-year-old, I'm getting old, you know.
And yeah, kids would have called it pokey hat back
Okay,
then. Okay.
that was we kids, we called them pokes.
Ah. What do you call licorice?
Licorice. Well, there you are. Remind me.
Sugar really?
Sugar oil, oh, sugar.
That was what it was
That was
called.
sugar oil.
And when did it actually change its name, or people start calling it licorice?
I think the toffs called it licorice.
And everybody called it.
Everyone called it sugar oil, but I forgot that one.
What other kinds of sweeties did you eat?
Well, we had Milky Ways. No, not so much Milky Ways, but buttermilk dainties.
Mhm.
They were made of buttermilk. There was quite a big toffee,
Uh-huh.
hundreds and thousands. What was that one again? Aniseed balls.
Oh yes. With our flavour in mind too.
Lollipops.
Mhm.
Oh, there's numerous I can't remember.
So there's a lot to choose from, hey?
Hundreds and, what's the one with the hearts on it? There was some kind of hearts, I can't remember.
Like whiz fizzes. Did you have whiz fizzes?
Fizzies,
Whiz fizz.
Aye.
Anything like that?
Mhm.
Okay. What did you eat made from peas?
Pea soup.
Pea leaf?
Pea leaf,
Yeah, is that pea soup?
mm.
Okay. And what do you call a match?
Well, they were called lucifers of various things. Lucifers was from the wars.
Mhm.
That's what they're called, lucifer.
Were they ever called a scratch?
That's a scratch.
That was
Oh, that was a common folk who called the scratches.
Did they ever call them any other names?
Not at all.
Like skunk?
Sparks.
Spunk.
Oh, they could have done it.
Okay. What do you call a clock? Or an old name for a clock?
An old name for a clock. Timepiece.
Mhm. Or any sort of clock, like one that goes in the mantelpiece or on the wall that has a little swinging pendulum, maybe?
Right.
What would you have called that?
No, I'm afraid I'm getting too old for it.
Like a waggity walk?
A Woody Wall.
Waggity walk.
Waggity Walk.
You remember that one?
I remember that one.
Did
That-
kids?
After you told me about it. I remember.
Was it ever called a knock?
A knock. A knock for a clock.
Mhm.
Aye.
Okay. And what was the difference between the two, like knock and what do you
Waggity Wall had a pendulum.
want?
The knock was just a
Clock.
ordinary sprung clock.
Okay. Here's something we were talking about the other day. What's some of the older words you would use for toilet?
A clonchy.
Mhm.
A lavvy.
Mhm. The closet?
Closet.
Yeah. Now, what did you call the sink? I think specifically the sink in the tenement houses.
Job box.
And why was it called that?
Why was it called that? I don't remember.
It's just called a jaw box.
Job box.
Um,
Remember what?
what was like some of the features of the jaw box? Like, what would you have called the tap?
Spigot.
Mhm.
Spigot. That's what we called the tap.
Or what about a well? A wall?
A well, call them well. Called the wells the tap. Spigots.
Okay. Now, how would you have told somebody to hurry up?
G yourself.
That's it, get a duty on them,
Right.
to yourself. Okay. Now,